Hi guys, welcome to episode 14 of the Fiberista Files. Today is Monday, November 8th, 2010. This is the first of the episode redesigns where I've sort of shifted from I don't want to say a memoir, but a recording of what I've done in my own personal endeavors to more of a resource for other people who want to get into the fibery lifestyle, if you can call it that, because I find that I don't podcast if I don't have something to say, which is, now that I'm not in show season, I really don't have a whole lot as far as, getting ready for a show or anything like that to talk about. And B, I really I believe strongly that this industry tends to hold its secrets very close to its chest, that people don't always want to say, oh yeah, here are, the suppliers that you can use, and here's how you do this, and if you'd like to start your own business, here's what's worked for me. And I'm not really sure why, because definitely there's still room for this industry to grow, and there's a place for everybody. So, I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but I can at least tell you what I've learned from when I started till now. So today I wanted to talk about a little bit about where to begin. Where do you start? You know you like fiber. You know you like color. So you decide one day that you'd like to sell it. Maybe make a living from it. Maybe do it as a side business. Who knows? Before you get to tax IDs, business licensing, accounting software, shows, insurance, all of that, you've got to definitely ask yourself some questions first. Not all of us are great at doing that, and I was very guilty of beginning with a lot of enthusiasm and not a whole lot of research, and really that has caused me to have to work much harder this past year than I probably should have had to. So again, I can only tell you what I know about. So what I've done since I've learned that I didn't know a whole lot, I sort of went back to the beginning and said, okay, I know that I want to be in the fibery community. I know that I want to sell fibers and yarns, and someday I'd like to make a living at it. Okay, where do I start? What I did was, I'm an English teacher in my day job, and so I am a big fan of seeing your thinking. So I made this. This is a piece of cardstock and a whole bunch of permanent marker written all over it. Okay, so here's the deal. When you are going to start a fibery business, you need to ask yourself one very important question. And this is the question that if you can't answer very clearly and very concisely and very quickly, then you shouldn't go any further until you can answer it. And that's this question. What sets me apart? There are a lot of fiber sellers out there. There are a lot of indie dyers. There are a lot of hand spinners. There's a lot of people in the fiber industry. What makes you special? What makes you different? What makes what you're going to do so much better or more unique than what everybody else is doing? For me, for Highland Handmades, the whole business exists on two different fronts, and I wouldn't have known this if I hadn't done the shows that I had done this past year. There is an online presence where my Etsy shop is and where all my social media deals with, and all the people who don't know me in real life exist. And then there's the shop that is at fiber shows. There's the shop that my friends and family have bought from. There's the physical location, which isn't really a location, it's my house. But being in front of the fibers and being able to physically feel them, that customer is a different customer than the one that's online. And so I had to answer this question twice. What sets me apart from other online vendors? And then what sets me apart from other in-person or real-world vendors? Because they're two very different answers. For me, online customers really value the fact that I'm from Maine, that I use Maine dyes, that I have a lot of Maine-made products. Our spindles are made from Maine woods. I use a lot of Maine colorway names like Mount Katahdin and Down East and a bunch of other of my colorways. Old Pour, which is some hand spun that I've got in the shop right now. The Maine aspect people are really drawn to. If you're not from Maine, Maine seems really fantastic. However, when you go to a show and everybody who goes to the show is also from Maine, being from Maine isn't that special. In fact, it's not a very good selling point at all. It makes you look kind of provincial, kind of small scale. So in the in-person, what set me apart was that I used professional commercial grade fibers. I use superwash, I use combed top, I use stuff that the local processors can't deliver. There are no superwash any places that, well, really in the U.S. As far as I know. Definitely there's none in Maine. I don't think there's any in the U.S. And there are no commercial top machines in Maine. I don't know if there are any in America or not. I do know that you can buy comb top from American distributors, but you can't get comb top in Maine. Not from Maine locally processed wools. So there is a section of customers that are really looking for that high grade quality stuff, and they can't get it from anybody that's Maine only. So I have two completely different aspects to my shop. Merging the two together is my challenge for the next year, trying to figure out a way that I'm not so divided. Because if you name a colorway name like down east, you can't change the colorway name when you sell it in person. It's got to be the same. So how do I meet the two together? Because in the shop, I really want that, but in person, it doesn't translate quite so well. So once I had written down all the things that had set me apart, both online and in person, I had to go next door to this question here, which is how am I going to demonstrate those differences? How do I demonstrate that I am from Maine other than saying, hey, I'm in Maine? There's got to be a way. There are, like, for example, there are Maine-made product stickers that you have to go through this application process to prove that you are Maine products, that your products are made or manufactured in Maine. And if you pass this juried application, you get little stickers that say made in Maine, yay! And they don't say yay. And you can put those on all of your stuff. That, to me, would make the online presence more authentic as being a Maine product. I'm working on that. The whole application juried thing is giving me fits, but I'm working on it. There are other things like the Maine colorways, the labels all of my yarn labels. My yarn lines. I have sugar maple sock, white ash worsted, basswood bulky. These are all tree names that exist in Maine. So they differentiate the different yarn lines, but have that Maine angle. In person, demonstrating what sets me apart is that fiber. The fiber speaks for itself. Combed top is amazing when you touch it, when you smush it, when you feel it, when you look at it and realize that the yarns that come from that are smooth. They don't have woolly boogers. They're not rough. They're very smooth and easy drafting. I don't use straight natural dyes or undyed. I use bright, vibrant colors. I use things you can't get from either naturally Maine-made products or the undyed, that stuff. So I also, in the in-person place, I put this big explanation about how we're from the Highlands of Maine, which explains the Highland Handmades and, all this stuff. Again, I'm still looking for ways to sort of merge the two. So once I've gotten to the demonstration piece and I figured out how I will demonstrate all those things, I go to this one, which is, what do I need to get there? This is always evolving. Right now, these questions really are sort of centered on how do I merge the two. But when I started this, it was apply for the Maine status. I haven't done that yet. I need to blog more Maineness. I find that the online people are big blog readers, so I need to blog that. I went to Acadia National Park and it inspired this colorway. I need to say, look, this is basswood and isn't this awesome? And this, hey, P.S., we've got a spindle that's made from this. I need to do that. I also want to increase my product line to more Maine fibers. I want to have those local fibers for the online crowd that can't get them from everywhere. To have Maine-raised Angora or alpaca or whatever has a niche that doing it at like Fibermania, there were, I don't know, a dozen vendors that all had Maine wool that there was fibers they had got off of their own animals. So I need to, I need to get those products to exploit to the online crowd. In person, I want to do some more videos and demos, some classes, get to that place where I can come across more as an expert. I want to have, the classes and things that show not only can you buy fibers from me, but you can learn from me too. and I want, more colorways. I want to add some luxury fiber, some stuff that you can't get. I just added Blueface Leicester and Silk Blend. There's nobody here doing that, especially in comb top. So I need to get to continue to increase that product line. There's a lot of stuff that I need to do to get there. This needs to be revisited all the time. When you get something, you check it off. If you don't have something, you need to figure out, okay, I don't have this. What's the next step? What can I do today towards that goal? It's a process. Once you know what you need to do to get there, you have this one. How will I gauge success? How do you know that what you're doing is working? Because if I do the main labels and it doesn't increase my business, it does nothing for me, why bother? What's the point? Why continue to do that? Why pay for the stickers? If it's not going to help me, I need to reevaluate that success. So online, obviously, these are sort of your goals. I would love to be at the place where when I do an update, I have some sales immediately, not necessarily sell out, but I would like to be able to have that rush of business because people are watching for me to update. Of course, I have to update more regularly, but we're getting to that. I also would like to hear some more word of mouth. I'd like some blog reviews, independent people saying, hey, have you seen this? This is really cool. I really love this. Things like that. And this sounds counterintuitive, but for an online success, how I gauge it is getting into Common Ground Fair, because part of the online specialty is that I'm Maine made, and then to get into Common Ground Fair, it's a huge, huge fair in September in Maine, and it has like 60,000 people come to this fair, but in order to get in, you have to be, I think it's 70% Maine made or Maine produced or Maine manufactured. It's a very specific vendor that they are looking for. And so in order to get all of those Maine things going, to expand on the being from Maine fantasticness, that will be a way for me to judge successes if I get into that fair. In person, repeat business, word of mouth. I want at a show for somebody to say, hey, I saw you at the last show, or hey, I saw you were going to be here, so I thought I'd come say hi. I had a customer the last show that I did at Fibermania who had bought yarn from me, and she'd knit a shawl, and she specifically came to Fibermania to see me, to say, hey, I made this thing out of your stuff. It's pretty cool. That was awesome. I love that. And that for me is a gauge of success. I also just recently had a couple of people who, they know me in real life, so it's, got to take it for what it is, but it's that in-person business. They came shopping in my living room. I had my totes out that I keep all of my fiber in, and I laid them out on the couch, and I sipped my coffee, and they went shopping in my living room, and they bought some stuff. So that to me is a way of gauging my success. So once I filled out this whole graphic organizer, and I've answered it as best I can for right now, and I have a list of things to do on this is what I need to do next, this is what I can do today or tomorrow, and on forth. Then I have this little question at the bottom. It says, when will I reevaluate? You need to have a time that you set aside once a month, once every 6 months, whatever, where you say, okay, here's what I'm doing, here's what I've done, here's whether it was or wasn't successful, where do I go from here? You've got to have a way, a set time to reevaluate. Otherwise, you're spinning your wheels and you have no idea where you're going. So what? What sets you apart? Something to think about. That's all I've got for today, guys. Next week, I'm going to do a blog post, not a blog post, an episode on how to set up your business. Tax ID, seller certificate, why you need those, what they're for, how to get them, and what to do once you've got them and what those things give you. So until next week, guys, happy spinning and knitting, and I'll see you next week.